Welcome to Cooper Talk. I'm your host, Steve Cooper, and remember, I'm only as hip as my guests. I have to tell you something, people. Last night, I had one of those weird, deep sleeps that I love, but it only lasted for 4 hours. Joanne was on set all day. She got home. Her mom's in town. Her mom's on the chair. I give Joanne the couch. I lay down on the floor, which, I love the floor for some reason. I've always just loved laying on the floor. And we put on this weekend's Dateline, and I swear to God, I was in 5 minutes, I was out. And it was this is probably like at 9:30 at night. And it was just such a deep sleep that it's one of those things. I woke up at a little after 2 in the morning because my guest today had sent me a message on Facebook, and I didn't want to respond because it was 2 in the morning. And I know on Facebook, like if I get a message at 2 in the morning, it makes a noise. But it was weird because I woke up and I had no idea where I was or what time I was. And then I saw there was a message from her and I thought, oh my God, did I sleep through the interview? Which it wouldn't have happened because it was hours later. So I'm all well rested. It's good. And talking about my guest, great actress, spiritual. We have a lot to talk about. My guest is Jane Sibbett. How you doing, Jane?
I'm doing well. So I came and visited you last night?
No, you sent me a message. It was funny. And when I woke up, because I always sit there, because Facebook it will pop up on my phone that I have a message. And it was a normal time. I should have been awake. I don't know what it is. I was out at 9:30. I mean, I was out to the world, and I woke up at 2 on the floor. And you probably had that kind of sleep where you wake up and you don't know what time it is. And you're like, is it night? Is it day? And my girlfriend had moved from the couch to sitting on a chair because her mom went upstairs to go to bed. And it was just crazy. So
Yeah, I have a lot of those crazy nights, especially these days. So I get it.
So now we're going to talk about the hands, which is the dancing hands, which is so cool. Your website's a great site, but I want to talk about your acting career because you're as a kid. Did you always want to be an actor? I noticed I read something about your neighbor would introduce you as an actor when you lived in Berkeley or something like that.
Well, I was born in Berkeley and I was raised in Alameda. And yes, this neighbor across the street, every time I'd come into the room, he'd say, "There she is, a star of stage, screen, radio, and television," this big booming voice. And I would run from the room in horror because I was so shy. And this man would always make this announcement. And it's just the funniest thing that I guess he must have instilled that little seed in me, even though I could barely talk to anybody without crying because I was so shy. He did instill that. No, and actually, I didn't. I thought it was a thrilling idea, but I never, ever would have thought I would be an actress. I actually really wanted to be a writer, and I still do when I grow up. I want to be a writer, so we'll see how that turns out.
So you're in Alameda, and that's near San Francisco. Actually, I went to my friend's 50th birthday party in Alameda last year, and it was very nice.
Okay. Yeah.
And so you were in there, and now what steps did you start to get on your road to acting? Because you said you were extremely shy, which it's very hard to overcome to be getting on stage. When did you sit there and start saying, you know what, I got to get over the shyness, or I have to get on stage? I mean, what age did that all start?
It's actually, my parents split up when I was 13 years old. And part of the shakedown was I was just, sad and kind of sick of my life. I was this, as my dad called me, this mentally gifted monkey. I was in this MGM program where I was pulled out with a bunch of other kids to go take college level courses when I was in middle school. And I was teased and I felt super shy about being smart, especially because my dad ridiculed me for it. And when he left, I wanted to disassociate myself from everything that which kept him away from me or kept us separate. So I decided I wanted to go to a Catholic girls' school with my two best friends who I'd never gone to school with. And there was this acting class that I took for 1 week. And it was so thrilling to me, this concept, even though I was playing a chorus girl in Hello, Dolly, this concept that I was to play something that was actually brave or sassy or, whatever it was at that time, this little acting class, and then being actually in this play, that I just went, wait a second, you mean I could get permission to be brave and sassy or, it's something else than I've always been and get away with it? And I just went, there's such freedom and relief in this. So I liked this acting idea. And so even though I was still too nervous when I actually moved to another school out of town the next year, still too nervous to do it at school because I certainly didn't want to be ridiculed again because, again, shy girl. I took an acting class outside of school and started in community theater, and it kind of hooked in. So I went to UCLA, and I had some amazing teachers and the whole deal, and just, one angelic thing after another. I really did have a miraculous, even coming from UCLA, where someone, I had no idea who it was, suggested I meet this casting director who was casting this thing. It was my very first professional audition, and within 2 days I was on my way to New York City to screen test for a soap opera.
So wait a second. So you went, you go to UCLA, and you're still shy. You're a shy kid. Now, you took, this is amazing. So you took community theater, you go to UCLA, and you're in school, and someone says, hey, and you've never auditioned before, and they say, hey, we're going to go to New York and do a screen test. What is going through your mind? Because you're young, and it's what you want to do, but it's like you're so new to it. It must have been terrifying but exciting.
It was so thrilling. It was so thrilling. Now, of course, a shy girl never really goes away, but I got to be better at it because I've been taking acting lessons about how to be brave and how to be bold. So, of course, I don't think anybody at UCLA necessarily knew that I was that shy, and I still am. I still get terrible party anxiety. My bed is covered with, options. Before I go anywhere, because I get so shy. I'm like, oh my goodness. But I still at that time, I was just thrilled to pieces to be in New York City. It was just, it was the most magical story. I didn't get this job, which was great because they would have booted me out of UCLA. You can't professionally audition for anything or get any work outside of UCLA. When you're there, you have to make that commitment. But it just opened my eyes to the fact that your whole life can change just like that. And I love that about acting. The next day, I've had jobs where I've been offered something, and the next day I'm on my way to Hawaii or to Budapest. It's been an amazing journey. I've never ever not liked a bit of it. Even when I've not gotten jobs, I get it. It's just magic, and you never know how magic works.
So you have that big opportunity, which is amazing and eye opening, as you said, and it really sits there and makes you go, wow, this, as you said, this is an attainable career. I can do this, and it brings your confidence. But it's now. Then did you graduate UCLA so you could start getting work?
Yeah, I graduated, and I had the best year of my life there. I graduated, and again, this angel has submitted me to this casting director, and this casting director took me under his wing. And so he began sending me out for other things, and he said, well, let me put you with this agency. And this agency didn't want to sign me. I wasn't that good yet. I must admit, I was not that good yet. And but they still kept me around because he kept calling me in for everything. He liked me, and he let me be the reader for him, for when he was auditioning male roles. So I got to learn a ton. His name is Paul Decker. Amazing, amazing, influential person that he just really gave me that leg up. And I finally got a soap. And I did that for about a year and a half, and went through every single guy on the show as a potential love on the show, and nothing worked. So they released me from my contract just a little bit early, like after a year and a half, and I was devastated.
That was Santa Barbara.
That was Santa Barbara, and I had a great time playing bitch by day, slut by night. But I was devastated. Then my agent said, "Don't you worry. When one door closes, another door opens." And within a week, I was testing for and got my first nighttime show, which was The Famous Teddy Z with John Cryer.
That was a good show, and it was so funny. You think about careers, and like John Cryer was in so many like sitcoms that were good, but they always seemed to get canceled after a year.
Yeah, that's his running joke. He was the one that if you cast him, it would be sure to be doomed. He's a very funny man.
Now, what was it like? Well, because when you were in the soap opera, soap opera fans are, let's just say, they're as passionate as Star Trek fans.
Yes, they're devoted. And in soap opera world, in Paris, or France rather, we were the #1 nighttime show. So, it wasn't just the prisoners in the in the cells loving the soap operas or writing to you, but it was really hardcore fans from all over. And oh my gosh, I loved it. I seriously, had they not released me, I probably still would be doing soap operas. I love that kind of work ethic where every day you had this script of 60 pages, and yeah, I'm sure I wasn't in every scene, but some days you had to memorize 20 pages of material. That's a lot. My brain was so happy learning all of that every day and then starting new the next day. It was awesome.
Yeah, it must be very challenging because it's just there's so much content, but I also know it's very. I've heard on soaps, it's you have to nail it because they don't have time like TV to do 18 takes. You got to walk in and deliver. 1 or 2 takes, and that's it. Yeah, my very first day was horrifying because I really had no idea what I was doing. Really, out of UCLA, I was a theater arts background. You don't learn how to, hold your marks or anything like that. And the director swore at me because I find your lights. He swore. I can't say this on this show, of course, but he swore, that I could not find my light. I'm like, oh, I don't know how to, open myself up to camera. I didn't know what that meant. I saw the camera was in front of me. I didn't think I had to still open myself up as if I was on stage. So it was a huge learning curve for me, but what an awesome, awesome group of people that I got to work with, all so talented and devoted and wonderful. I mean, I know that lots of people poo-poo soaps, but what an amazing training ground for every actor. I think everybody should have to go through a soap. It's like, going to high school and into college. It's the best. No.
So, yeah, I liked it.
Now, it must have been a weird transition for you for the fact that, as you said, you have to learn your lines and you have to know every day there's an episode. So when you made the jump to the nighttime, and now was that show you were on, was that in front of a live audience?
Yeah, the Famous Eddie Z was in front of the live audience. So again, I was blessed by this amazing, talented crew all around me. Hugh Wilson, who did WKRP and the First Wives Club, he was our executive producer and creator of the show. He, with Richard Dubin, just made this amazing show. Alex Rocco was on it, and he won an Emmy that first year. That we only did one season. Another political thing, but again, great training ground. I had no experience with comedy. I didn't find myself particularly funny, but somehow they let me do it anyway, and I had a blast. Learned so much, and then suddenly there was all this. You work for 3 weeks, and you get a week off. That was awesome. And Johnny and I actually, we had a relationship. He and I were quietly engaged, actually, after many, many months. So it became even more fun to work with someone that was so funny. I had to work. If you go back and look at some of these old episodes, even I think maybe there's one floating around where you can see me just barely holding it together, trying not to laugh while I'm working with him because it was just so funny. That always looks so fun. I mean, when I see it on Saturday Night Live and stuff, and they start breaking up and laughing, it's just it's got to be so hard for you to contain when someone is that funny, especially you were very close with them. You must have been like, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to look like a dope. And we did all the time. And that's the part about being in front of a live audience too, which is so much fun because we would always kind of worked in always, one time where it was okay to lose it. Yes, there's days that they just want to get it in the can, but there's other days it's that makes the audience feel happy and brings them in when they can see that we're just human beings and we're having a blast and that we're delighted by the material as much as anyone else is. Of course, when you don't have delightful material, then yeah, it can be a little bit different, but that was always, always, always brilliant writing. Now, how does it... I'm sorry, go ahead. No, I was going to say much like, Friends, always brilliant writing. Yeah, I was going to say, how it's for you, how was it when that show got canceled? Because you're still young. A guy wins an Emmy. It's got a great, all of you guys, it's a great cast. It was a good show. How do you, as an actor, how do you sit there and deal with that when it's something, it's you did nothing wrong. You know what I mean? The show did nothing wrong. How do you deal that with your psyche? Well, yeah, I didn't do anything particularly for my psyche, but this show was it was a send-up of Hollywood. So it was an education for me, again, not only just how to learn comedy, but to really learn Hollywood from the inside out. So it got to be so that we had so many agents coming, and agents and insiders and network executives even, that would come and watch the show. And Hugh didn't want them there because they would laugh so uproariously at all these inside Hollywood jokes that he thought that wasn't a really true laugh, but the audience seemed to love it as much. But it was a political situation where the head of our, studio was having a dispute with CBS, and so systematically he canceled, when he moved his studio over because he wasn't released from his contract, he canceled absolutely anything that had to do with his past life. And so it was eye-opening. It didn't make me jaded. I was far too young for that. I just went, okay, well, then we go on to the next. I mean, I've always been kind of that Mary Sunshine girl where it's like there's always something else that's going to happen that's going to be just as cool. But it was one of those many Hollywood tales that happened that show should have gone on and had many, many episodes. I think that if they actually do ever really release it, and I guess it's on some kind of one of the comedy channels, but I don't know what it is. But someone was saying that there are DVDs out there someplace. We were just like, with just one season. We just did one season. But they're so good. Even now I want to go back and look at them because they really do teach you about Hollywood almost better than most things.
That's funny. So then now after that, though, but you kept working because then you eventually ended up on Herman's Head, which I loved that show. And that was one of those shows that it was just good because it was different. Listeners, if you don't know, Herman was played by William Ragsdale, and he had all different people as his brain. And now that must have been cool to be in a show because at the time that was a very original show, and Fox was very new at that time.
Yeah, that was one of the very first shows. It was married. We used to have this joke that the people that would watch Herman's Head were, too drunk to turn off Married with Children. That was like our little joke. Because you have to be self-effacing. But we had a blast on that show. It really was super fun. And actually, a lot of people say, "Hey, they made a movie about your show, Inside Out." That was that animated film last year that did so well. Is really just like Herman's Head, except that we had more of a sexual element, of course, with Kenny Campbell playing this part of the lust part of the brain. It was just a fantastic cast. Hank Azaria, who you remember from many, many, many projects, including Birdcage. He was Billy Ragsdale's best friend on the show, Jason Bracken. We had Yardley Smith, who was Lisa Simpson. So she was doing 2 Fox shows at the time. Peter Campbell, who's on some big show right now. What is that? I don't know. All my friends are still working. Molly Hagan. It was just an awesome, awesome, awesome show. Had a blast. It's funny.
We just saw Molly Hagan the other night. I was watching Some Kind of Wonderful. It was on Channel 5, and I love that movie. And I was like, I know her from somewhere. And I looked up and I went, oh my God, okay. And then it was just funny because I'm like, Jane's going to be on. She was on Herman's Head. It all revolves. Like everyone knows everyone somehow. And it's very cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I really want. Now that I'm back, I've been in Hawaii for 7 years, and now that I'm back, I want to go. I want to have a Herman's Head reunion.
You got to try to get. I would watch. You got to try to get that on like Hulu or Netflix. Do a new Herman's Head because now people would dig that. I mean, they would dig it. It's now's perfect.
It would actually probably be a really fun concept to take the exact same cast and do that again. Although we probably wouldn't be able to get Hank back or Yard, and Jason passed away.
You never know.
Kenny and Molly and I could do it.
Right.
Rick Lamas.
So that show ran.
Mackenzie's on his show. Yeah.
That show ran for a few years.
It did 3 years.
So now, it must be odd getting recognized because you're in these shows. Do people start recognizing you, and how do you handle that? Because it's one thing if you're a guy and you get recognized, but if you're an attractive woman and you get recognized, it can't always be that easy because people are friendly, and it must be hard sometimes. It must have been hard.
No, I've always been appreciative of anyone who's brave enough. See, the shy girl talking again, that they're brave enough to come up and say that they recognize me. Some people just come up like, don't I know you from someplace? They want me to reveal my resume. That's the only part that's like a little fun. It's like, oh, really? Okay, if you're gonna do it, like, know it. But I get it, and then the one time you finally say, oh yeah, it might be because you know me from Carol on Friends. They're like, no, I think I went to high school with you. I'm like, oh, oops. So it's best always just to be gracious and, let them guess why they think they might know.
Now,
it's all sweet.
Now, Friends, how did that role come about? And when you got the part, did you ever know that it would become one of the most watched shows? I mean, everybody has seen an episode of Friends. And
almost everybody. Yeah,
almost. I would say most people. I mean, not everybody, but you know what I'm saying. But how did that part come up?
Well, I auditioned. I had an audition, and I read the script and just went, "This is so brilliant." I went in an audition. I had such a blast. Immediately was called, and I was asked to test for one of the main six. And I said to my, they wanted to make a deal immediately, and I said to my agent, "Did you tell them that I'm pregnant?" And my agent's like, "Oh, no. We thought that we should tell them after." I'm like, "No, see, I'm married to a producer." That would be so uncool because this is probably going to be around that time. So they'd have to shoot around my pregnancy or my, impending birth, because I knew when I read the script that there was no way that it wasn't going to get picked up. It was such a phenomenal script. I loved it. I completely bit into it. I had one of my most favorite auditions ever. And when the producers are crying because they're laughing, and I'm, crying because I can't believe that they're laughing, because I'm still shy, right? I just knew that there was something really magic. And so when my agent came back, because I insisted that they let them know, I said, "Just tell them though that maybe I could play the pregnant lesbian." And so they said, okay. My agent said, they really appreciate you saying this, or my manager said this. They really appreciate you saying this, but you couldn't play the pregnant lesbian because it's exactly when the show would, be running again. Like, oh, all right. And they said, but don't worry. They said they would remember you for sure. Like, okay. So literally the day that I get home from the hospital delivering my 8.5-pound baby boy, my second birth, it was after a 24-hour labor.
Ooh, man.
I get a phone call. Literally, I just walked in the door, and I'm thinking, oh, it's a phone call. This is when we actually had answering machines, but my answering machine was across the way, and I had just finished nursing my baby, and I'm really tired and really sore. Literally that day, I get this call, and it's my manager saying, "Hey, guess what? Friends called, and they are not going to go forward with the woman who's playing the pregnant lesbian. Can you go to work tomorrow?"
Oh, wow.
Like, what? Are you kidding me? I just had a baby. And yeah, we know that, but they said they would make it really comfortable. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so tired. I just had a baby. I love this part. I love this show. Are you kidding? Like, look, don't make up your mind right now. They're going to send you the pilot because they're quite sure that it doesn't matter how sore you are, you're going to want to come in. Like, okay, send it over. So they sent it over to me, and I'm watching this pilot, and I literally in that very first scene, the first time I see David Schwimmer come on, and he's doing the longest take I've ever seen, longest comedy hold that I've ever seen, I just went, I got to do this. I just got to do this. And so my mother was still there because I just had my baby. And so she and my 2-day-old son went to Warner Brothers the next day, and I did my first day on Friends. And then 10 years later, well, now how many years my son is now? So he was obviously 2 days old at that time. He's 21 years old, 21 and almost and a half years old. So that's when we started working on Friends.
Wow, that's that's such a great story. I mean, it's like, it must have been an amazing show if we just sit there and go, okay, I'm coming in.
It was amazing. If you've seen that pilot, you'll see. I mean, I was laughing my heart out, and a couple of those people on the show I knew from my past life. I mean, I knew them. I knew Jennifer Aniston because she and I had been many women's gatherings together. I knew Lisa Kudrow because when I saw her at the Tiffany years ago, I went up to her. I said, "Do you have an agent? Because I'm going to call up my agent right now and get you an agent." I just fell in love with her immediately. And then Matthew Perry, he and Hank Azaria were best buddies, and so I'd always see him on the set. So I was like, this is going to be a dream job to work with 3 people I already love, 3 more people that I don't yet know, but I can't wait to. And I was so happy. It was an amazing show. The woman playing my wife, Jessica Hecht, couldn't be more beautiful, couldn't have been more perfect for me to play acting, that I was in love with her. It was just dreamy. The producers, oh my gosh, you just don't have a higher benchmark than these producers and these writers who really believe in collaboration like nobody's business. So from cast to crew to producers to writing staff, every bit of support above and below the line. It was the dreamiest job ever. It really shows how much better we can do if we collaborate and we really.
Hold on. Hello? One second. We had a little timeout here, people. One glitch. Hold on a second. It's all right. The show must go on. Skype crashed. We have one little glitch. We'll be okay. Jane?
Was I talking too long?
No, it just cut off. I don't know what happened. It said my program closed down. And
that's interesting.
And that's never happened. I was like, oh my God, what happened? But it's okay, because you're telling a great story. No, because it's no, I mean, I don't know. I know it's not because you talk too long, because believe me, I was talking to my friend the other night, and I never shut up when I'm not doing this. I listen to my guests, but when I'm talking on Skype, I talk my ass off. But now I was going to ask you about Friends. Did you know it would be recurring for all the years that it was on, or did you have no idea?
Oh gosh, when I accepted the part, they said it would just be 2 weeks, and that they would probably just read the character out. I'm like, well, I can do 2 weeks, but so I didn't know. So it was always such a joy and surprise when they would call me up and ask if I could come back. And in the interim from that part, I was offered TV movies and other pilots and other TV shows as well. It was a beautiful entryway for so many great projects. Nothing could ever hold a candle to that show. But I did have the most amazing career working with awesome people who just let me come in the door because I had worked on Friends. So I'm going to be forever grateful for that show. It's like when you say yes to the universe rewards you. And so that's why I've just there's nothing that's, beneath me when people come forward with great heart. And I've been so greatly blessed. I can't take responsibility because I still feel like I'm learning, but wow, I'm so lucky and blessed. I really am. Well,
it's also it must be different for you is the fact that you had when Friends was on, it was so watched and people knew you, and now it constantly replays, and I'm sure kids are watching it with their parents because we all do it with sitcoms. We watch. I mean, my girlfriend watches Friends on Saturday. It's on Lifetime, or it's on one of the channels. She'll put it on and as background, just watch it if she's doing stuff. And it must be odd, just not odd, but different for the fact that people are watching it with their kids. So now you're probably getting a younger fan base, and also as you said, you had your son when it was first shooting. You probably have a whole fan base of people his age, which must be sort of different because you're just wait a second, this is cool.
His age and younger too. My son, I don't think he's actually even watched the show ever, which is really funny. Our kids were Waldorf kids, so we didn't really have TV on, and I was certainly raising my children, so I didn't even actually really watch it except for the episodes that I was in until a year ago when my now 15-year-old, said, "Mom, I'm the last person on the planet to watch this show. Please," besides her brother, "please, can I watch the show?" I'm like, "I think it's a little advanced for you, honey. There's like pre-ejaculation jokes and stuff." She's like, "Mom, come on. Everybody watches it but me." I'm like, "Okay, how about we watch it together?" Because I want to be the responsible parent. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that she did. I knew the show was brilliant. I saw it firsthand being on the set. But I was so happy to see the episodes that I wasn't in finally, because it's really, really funny. So, yes, her friends, like, there was a parent day recently even where the kids were, you can see that kind of like gleam in their eye that isn't quite like just saying hi to someone's mom, that that there's maybe some recognition and, some friend fanship going on there. I find it charming. I find that people who are lit up by laughter and by good storytelling, I think it's wonderful that we should all. I'm not into the hero worship. There's none of that at all. I just think I think that we can meet each other in such a nicer way. And I'm so glad that they know me as this character who is really groundbreaking. This was at that time it was the highest rated television episode ever. Our wedding episode, which was the first lesbian wedding ever. And I was really so happy that that's how people know me, as someone who was fully there for love. No matter how it shows up, that my character was fully present for love and courageous in her love, and that just makes me feel good.
Yeah, I was going to say that must be a great feeling, because as you are right, back then, 20 years ago, the whole LGBT movement has changed so many over the years, and back then people weren't used to seeing gay characters, but the thing was, people accepted it, and that's what's great. No one sat there and went, what's this crap? They actually accepted it.
Actually, that's but like Lima, Texas blocked us out, and there's two affiliates completely blocked out the show, and that was like the best thing that we could have possibly hoped for, because that's controversial. Actually, a station shutting down the #1 show at the time, right? So, we still have a long way to go, and I don't necessarily need to go into the political thing, but the fact that we're even fighting for LGBT rights still, or, thank goodness finally that we can get, we have marriage equality, but look what's going on with just our political campaign this year. It's been insane.
You know what? That's like a sore subject to me, the political campaign. Just because, one, it's what is awful is, and this is maybe me being selfish, but I am annoyed with it already, and we still have 6 months till the president comes on. Till that starts happening, and it's taken over the news waves, and it's one of those things. I don't really watch the Today Show, but my girlfriend does, and she can't stand Trump, and she sometimes wants to mute it, and I'm like, you're going to miss half the Today Show, because every morning it's thrown in our face, and I'm like, there's these tornadoes, Canada, that fire is awful. I want to hear about that and see how that's going. The political, it's not going to make a difference until November, and that's the scary thing. I'm like, we have to put up with this through November.
It's reality show gone, mad. It's really, really, really. These are important things that we should be talking about, all this stuff, and we should be looking at the bigger picture of the world. But when we've got this, racist, misogynistic, xenophobe that's just who's out there perpetuating hate and divisiveness, it's troubling to me. It's really deeply troubling.
We're going to take a veer away from hate. We're going to take about spirituality, because I want to talk about you going to Hawaii, but I want to talk about the dancing hands and explain this whole thing and how you got into it. Because I know you worked on some documentaries about different stuff too. How did you get into taking the spiritual path? Did it just happen to you?
That's a really good question. I think always as a child, I had this sense that there was a lot more. So even though my mom stopped taking us to church when I was 5 years old, I would get on my bicycle and I would go from church to church looking for God. And then I finally would climb up my trees, and then that felt better. Or I'd go out on the sailboat or ride my horse, whatever it was, I felt closer to God in nature. But I kept searching. I kept going from place to place. So that was always part of who I was as a child. And I always had this special desire to have God talk to me, and just, or to talk to God. And so that was this part. But and I guess it's always kind of been trucking along, but when I went to Hawaii, it was a very spiritual adventure. You can't live on the big island of Hawaii without feeling the creative forces of the universe all the time. Not only is the Milky Way spinning over your head, it's magnificent, and stars shooting right and left, but you just feel it. There's no way around it. Then when I was maybe there, not even a year, I think, we got this phone call to if I would be interested with my husband to produce a documentary on this man named Brazzo. And he was a man who was reported to have gazed like 10,000 people in a day. And this is and people, all sorts of amazing things would happen. Well, I thought, well, this is kind of goofy, but if this is true, that would be way cool. And so we decided to meet him, and one thing after another, I began to witness all these miracles up close. And while we were shooting the documentary, and then he asked if I would help him with his tours on the western region of the United States. And they soon became very, very successful. It was completely crazy, out of the box.
What would happen on these tours? What were people seeing when they would come see him?
Well, they would see things. People would see like auras and angels and all that kind of stuff. But more than that, what they did was they felt things differently. And, I saw things from stage 4 cancer disappearing over a weekend to people regaining eyesight, to people walking, like our very, very first live event ever. I mean, I'd had experiences when I was in Hawaii just shooting the documentary, including within my own family. But when I was the very first event, there was a man who had come in who had not been able to walk more than a few steps unassisted. And he literally got up, walked up some stairs and outside and went and straight to our cameras and said, I just experienced a miracle. And he explained it. So I knew that out of the box, this was something that was really remarkable. So I worked with this man for about 3 years, and we did live streaming and all sorts of things, and walked away for various reasons, including that I was away from my family so much that I needed to take some time off. And then about a year after that, I started working with a man named Masajati and helping him around on his tours, experience another level and layer of miraculous. My body started independently moving, doing all these kind of healing yoga. It felt really good in my body. And I worked with him for about a year. And then right after that, I was invited to meet this man named Abdi Electricite, who also he's been doing this for 15 years, and he's also an extraordinary person who has abilities that not only help people heal, but also wake people up to their gifts, which I think the others do as well, but that's more what Abdi would talk about. And the second time this man touched me, my hands began dancing. And so it's just so crazy. And again, I would say it's the universe, God, pure source, however you want to label this, whatever this force is that brings us life and holds up the stars and the sun. All of that, it's been one thing after another, just to let go. It's like, okay, shy girl, really want to get out there? Really want, you want to walk your talk now, that this connection is really real. This is what's going to happen. So my hands started dancing, and it's, if you go to my janesdancinghands.com website, you can see it's surprising to me, even it's been going on for about a year now. It's surprising to me still every single day that I see these amazing things happen or feel them or hear them, as it was the very first day that I started.
Well, what do you mean when they dance? Like if you were to explain in a sentence. So someone who's no, seriously, like someone's listening to the show and they're going, "Wait a second, the dancing hands," and maybe because they're driving and they can't check it out. But Nick, explain it, because it's fascinating.
Okay, so here I can give you a taste of it from right there too. But they independently start moving, and I've been actually keeping them quite quiet this whole time. So they're actually starting to dance right now. They begin moving around as if they're dancing all by themselves. So think of a dancer in a room. Now, when I'm with people in a room or in a circle of people, or we're doing a one-on-one session, my whole body might move. But right now, as we're talking, my hands are actually dancing. So if you know what like yoga mudras are, which yogis, thousands of years ago came up with as connecting meridians of health within our body, it's like that, but they move very quickly. And sometimes they'll dance around, sometimes they'll point to a different part on the body. And so for me, when it really popped through and I could see that there was true purpose in them, I mean, I could see that because people would start, the first time, let's go back to that first time. So they started like, my body goes down when Abdi touched me. And I went into this deep, deep blissful state. And the second time he touched me, they started to dance. And so it looks like they're, moving around and dancing dancing up above my body and moving around in different places. And people started to say they could see light coming off of my hands. And they asked me to put my hands toward them and they could feel something coming out of them. And so, like, okay, what is this? Is this magic? No, this is, and I've talked to Abdi about it, and who has great gifts of insight. And he says it's just pure source coming through your hands. And pure source, again, is another word for God. But I try not to say, it's not me, it's not God. I'm not God. I am not, I'm not saying any of that. It's just coming through me the way that sunshine comes through in the sky. So that's what it's doing. And so they start moving around. So like right now, they'll start clapping and snapping, so you can hear that too. And sometimes they'll dance like that. They'll make sounds and they'll, move around.
Can you stop them when they're dancing, or can you sit there and go, I want to stop, or is it just something that it takes you over?
Well, it doesn't take me over, so it's not like I'm in a trance. I can stop them, and I can say, okay, that's enough, and now you can put them down, and I sit on them, but the impulse is still there. It's almost like you're trying to push through a door, or like this excitement to go start skipping. I don't know. That's like it's a feeling of elation once you just get out of the way. And it's, again, I have to. I put my ego aside, because I feel still always shy about this. But I put my ego aside and I step out of the way, and they just kind of dance and they go freely. So, like, let's say if you had something on your body right now that was hurting, I could ask, your higher self to come forward, and it would show me, it would reveal something to me, and then it would start working on that. So let's say, for instance, I've had people so far in this year, and most recently I had this amazing experience. Eric Lutz, who you had on your show not too long ago, he had Lyme disease. And when I met him, he could barely walk up the stairs. He said he would have to take the rail, and it was a huge effort for him to climb the stairs. And I didn't realize how sick he was when we met. We met doing a movie together. But my hands, when he did tell me about it, my hands began to move. I'm like, would you mind if I started working on you? So he, since then, has had this Lyme release, and he's so strong. He just did a 5K recently. He's been working out. He's always been pushing through it and doing his best to make that. But there's been lots of things like nicotine addiction has been eradicated from him. I could feel this, something was wrong. It would come out of him, like I'd pull it out, like, if I was pulling threads, like, snags inside of his body, or like worms out of soil. It was just stuff that didn't belong there. And so he's in a really, really great place. But this last weekend, this woman, it's an old friend of mine. I could just feel something was up, and I kept thinking, I gotta call her. So I finally sent her a message. I'd love to talk to you. And she said, wow, your ears must have just been burning. One of the Kumu on the island of Oahu had just told me that I need to contact you immediately. She could feel it through the ether. And that I didn't know this, but she had nearly died last year. And so she told me that much. And I said, well, look, I feel the great pressing need to dance with you if you are open to that. She said, yes. And so I said, I'll give you my first available appointment. And so as soon as we started dancing, I said, what would you like me to work on? Because she still hadn't told me what was wrong. She said what had happened last year, but it didn't seem like that was still relevant. And so she said, just let Source go where it needs to go. Like, okay. So she's Hawaiian, old school Hawaiian, and my hands started drumming and clapping and snapping and doing all sorts of things, moving around as I'm sitting in front of my Skype screen, and she drops out of the screen. I don't even see her anymore. She's like on the floor or something, I'm not really sure. And then she comes back in and out. So she tells me, oh gosh, this is a long story. I don't even know if you have time for this.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's interesting. You know what? It's interesting to me. So we want to hear it.
Okay. Okay. Good. All right. So she comes back on. I see her hands reaching to the screen. I'm like, "How are you feeling?" And she goes, "Great." And so, but I can see she's way out, like she's really high. You know, and some people do talk about like this is the greatest high they've ever had. Not everybody feels it the same way, but a lot of people have said this is like LSD, and I've never done any of that stuff, so I have nothing to compare it to. But anyway, I can see she's high. So she comes back, and she says, I feel really great, but I feel like I need to lie down. But one of the things that happened before she said that, my hand starts doing this. I don't know if you can hear this with the microphone. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
So it's beating around my left breast, all the way around. I'm thinking, gosh, does she have breast cancer? No, that's not what it is. And then I suddenly hear, and I say immediately, what happened in the helicopter? And her mouth drops open, and I'm thinking, oh, I got it wrong. Shy girl jumps in, oh, I got it wrong. You know, I'm not listening properly. And why am I even talking? I'm not supposed to talk. I should just let this come through. And I said, did something happen in the helicopter? And she said, yeah, my dear friend died in front of me in a helicopter. And I said, okay. And she said, yeah, she and I were in Vietnam, and we weren't even fighting. We were just tagging the body bags, and we got ambushed, and she threw herself in front of the bullet, and she took the bullet, and she died. Like, oh, wow. And I said, well, what it feels like is that you've tucked this pain like a baby under your wing. And it's like, this pain is what's made you sick, is that you have this heartache. She goes, I think of her every day. And I said, well, she's saying that it was your destiny to live because you have healing gifts of your own that you've been hiding. But it's your destiny to live because not only when you healed, you heal other people, but you're healing the land. The Aina is so important. The Aina is sick. And we need more healers that are actually working on the Aina. This is what I'm hearing, right? And I'm just translating this for her. She's like, okay, right. And I said, well, so what am I holding in my hand? And she said, because I felt like I was holding a chain. I was thinking maybe it's the dog tags or something. She goes, no, I was holding a pendant over her. And she goes, because that's what we do. I was trying to heal her. This is all on my website, by the way. And I said, well, where is that pendant? And she said, I threw it in the ocean after she died. Like, okay. And then I looked down, my hand's still in the same position. I said, why am I still holding my hand like this? She goes, because I still have mine. I said, okay. So again, your girlfriend is saying you need to get to work. You need to get busy. And first thing you do is we're going to heal you. You need to heal you. And then you being here and this dancing hands is about you stepping up and you recognizing how important it is for you to heal you now. Okay? And so the session was done. She said she's going to go to sleep. I check in with her 45 minutes later, though, because I had to get off the phone really fast. And I said, ask how she's doing. And she said, I don't cry. I'm not a crier. And she'd never really talked about this Vietnam thing. She said, but I've been crying for the last half hour. I know something's going on. And I feel like everything's going to be fine. I'm like, okay, good. So the next day goes by. I can't get a hold of her. I'm too busy. And then Sunday she calls me. So it's literally 24 hours afterwards. She tells me, she goes, I didn't tell you this, but right before you worked on me, I had just gotten back from having my CT scan and my ultrasound. And they found a mass. And it was not only in my liver, but also in my uterus. And so I didn't tell you that. I just wanted Source to do the work. So she said, but after the session, I slept for 12 hours, and I woke up, and it was time. They had called me back to get another CT scan and ultrasound because I needed to go in there because they had to go do the biopsy because they were going to do surgery. There was no way around it. And so she said, so I woke up in the morning after your dancing hand session. I walked in there to the doctor and I said, you're going to tell me good news. He goes, I want to tell you good news. You've been through enough. You know, they almost lost her last year, right? And she goes, I just know it. You're going to tell me good news. And so the doctor does the CT scan, calls her up that night, and he said, I want to know what you did. And she said, why? He goes, it's all gone. The cancer's all gone. You're free. And so she said, oh, it makes me cry. Because it still seems amazing to me. because I love this woman besides, but I just like, I'm so amazing to me because I didn't even know that I was, I didn't know that I was working on it. Again, Jane steps out of the way, and Pure Source is coming through, and we've had this amazing transformation for my friend who's obviously so grateful that she's going to be fine.
See, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That must make you feel great. I mean, the acting's great, but you're helping people, and that's very cool.
It surprises me, and it's wild, and who would have thought? Eric and I were just talking about this morning. Who would have thought, even a year ago, that this would be happening? I never, in a million years, nor did I ask for it. I just never thought of it, that this could happen. But I think that's the cool thing, is that this really can happen for everybody. We all have this ability to connect with Source in ways that can help people, feel better. Like you doing this show is helping people. They're connecting with people that they want to connect with. They're making them feel better. We all have our ways.
Now, when you said you get the urge when your hands, it just comes on. Now, how do you deal with that when you're on set? Like, I mean, because if you're in a role, I know you're coming out in that movie, the Jessica Darling, with Eric. Like, so how do you do, especially because you and Eric know each other, and you've done the hand thing on him. Like, does he know? Like, let's say, does he know when the hand thing is coming on?
He does, but I really wasn't exploring this until after we'd done the movie. They started to do that, but they weren't when I was doing the movie at all. And it really wasn't until after the movie and I was in this really intense car accident that I realized that they had focused for something that was healing, and they did some self-healing. Again, that's also on my website, but it's an amazing story. And so I have not had the opportunity, and it's funny, my manager's like, you gotta tell TMZ about this. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I think that this is better just passed along, word of mouth, and let people find it naturally, because this is not about necessarily publicizing it, about the right people being magnetized to it. I don't know what would happen if I was on the set, but it would be kind of cool. Maybe it would help people feel better. I don't know. That means I probably can't do any terrible drama. Not that I like to do terrible dramas anyway, where people are gnarly and sick or whatever. But maybe I'd help make people feel better. I don't know.
That's crazy. So now you're back. Now, when did you come back from Hawaii?
About a year ago. About a year and a half now, almost, I guess.
So
yeah.
So you did plays over there and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was directing. I have another play that actually was supposed to open in April, and we've had to push it to hopefully September because I've been so busy. I haven't been able to work on the play enough with the women that I've been writing it with. But directing, writing, I've got all that happening. And it's so funny. My agents are getting me out for amazing parts, and the auditions have been truly. Directors holding my hand saying, where have you been? That was awesome. And then not getting the part. And I think that maybe it's just because I'm supposed to be doing this for right now. And who knows what tomorrow will be. Maybe we'll stop dancing tomorrow. But right now, I've got this tour. I guess hopefully not. They won't stop dancing before June, because every day there's more and more people coming forward and getting help. And, you can see the testimonials on my website. It's, I can't keep up with putting them up right now. People have been really touched by this, and so for now I'm touring. I'm going to Portland in the Pacific Northwest. I'm going to back east for a couple of weeks and dancing my hands with events with groups all over the place, as well as I'm with people. So who knows what'll happen with the acting. I might be just a little too weird,
Oh, come on. I mean, this isn't weird compared to some of the stuff you hear about actors. I mean, seriously. Now, how do people find out about you? Like, you're doing these groups. You're doing these events. How do people find out? Do you have a PR person that sits there and books you, or do people sit there and just find you by word of mouth?
Yeah, it's been word of mouth. I didn't even, when I went to Costa Rica with Abdi and 64 different people, 64 healers and helpers, and when I came back, I did one more tour with him because I've been presenting him still, and I have a tour with him coming up at the end of May, on May 29th also. No tour, I have one day. But he said, you have to build a website. As soon as he felt what was coming through, he said, this is very powerful. You need to get a website up immediately. So I did. And from that, people have been writing to me and asking if I would come to their towns. And I'm doing what I'm calling the sweet spot tour. Is because I think that I've always toured with these other people to these big cities, but there's a lot of really amazing little towns that are meccas for change and transformation. So why not go to some of these really cool little spots? So if people want to know about how to connect with me, they could go to janesdancinghands.com. It's pretty simple. If they go to janesibbett.com, there is a redirect there also. That site is not built nearly as much as the janesdancinghands.com because I've just been so busy dancing.
How does it feel like for you now, though, to go back and audition again, back in the city? Is it different?
You know what? I love every bit of it. It's more alchemical. I couldn't wait to try it out when I got back because I felt like I'd seen so much since I'd been gone and touring with these amazing men, and I feel like I just wanted to see what happened. And I've always seen the alchemical in what we do as actors. We co-create with our audience this reality that we all buy into. It's more acute when you're doing a theater piece because it's not all the set pieces are not all together. But I've always loved that magic that we can create together. So I've adored going into these rooms and having these auditions with people and kind of watching where, again, as an actor would, Jane steps out of the way so that this character can come through, and it's been way cool. I gotta say, it's been very different and much, much cooler than I ever remembered it before. I love it. I always love acting. I mean, it's super fun not to be myself because I'm just a geek.
Your hands just danced right then. I heard them.
Yes, I do. I'm sorry.
I heard them. I heard them in between your talk, and I heard this. I heard that, and I said, her hands are. Well, that's a good thing. Is that a good thing if I'm talking to you and you're dancing? Is that something that's a positive thing for me, or are your hands going, oh my God, there's something wrong with Steve?
Yeah, Steve, you know what's so cool about this too? Yeah, definitely they're dancing for you right now. And people that are listening to this, when I've done radio interviews with people, when people listen to the radio interview when my hands are dancing, they feel better. I've even had people say, you cured my insomnia. I'm like, well, wait, did you fall asleep? While I was listening to the radio show, like, no, I can sleep now, and like night after night, which I always love that. But no, actually, when my hands dance, one of the coolest gifts I would say it's my party gift to myself that the source is giving me is that I only see perfection. So I am completely like, if you were standing in front of me, even now I can see who you are, but it's not like I'm pouring through your diary. I'm actually just see your perfection. And so I think that's what the glorious part of this gift is for me, is that when I'm dancing, I get to look through the eyes of God, and God only sees us as perfect, or a source, pure source. I want to take away the God word is so heated for so many people. So I try to do something that's kind of in between, but I only see this perfection. So, everything inside of you or anyone I'm working with, or even this whole audience that they're listening to, is only being washed in this perfection. So anything that's less than that kind of gets, blasted with love, cool, or light or clarity. So it might go toward, like, if you had a sore back or something like that, it might go work on your back, or your knee, or your ankle, whatever it might be, or some broken heart. It could be emotional or professional.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta wrap up. That flies. Now you have to give all your info so people can get in touch with you.
Yeah. So again, they can reach me or find any of these events or me at janesdancinghands.com or janesibbett.com, and it's JANESIBBETT. Or they can just Google me and they can find it. There's a lot of YouTubes on this too, so they can see this in action.
Cool. Well, I want to thank you for coming on. It was good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, and thank you so much, Steve, for having me. I really appreciate it.
So people, please go follow her. Follow me on Twitter. I'm at Cooper Talk. That's at Cooper Talk. Go to my website, coopertalk.net. I have over 508 episodes or something like that up. You can email me, Cooper at coopertalk.net. Also, Instagram's Cooper Talk 1. I do a lot of cool pictures on Instagram, a lot of recipes, and that's my other site, stopthesalt.com. When I have my health problem, I wrote the cookbook. It's 120 easy recipes. No pictures to intimidate you. You don't no big ingredient lists. I cook with a lot of ingredients, but these are easy. Like you're not going to find cumin in there. You don't need cumin to cook something. But it's 120 easy recipes, and it helped me get through, get healthy again after I went through my heart problem. So that's at stopthesalt.com. You can get it at Amazon, but if you get it from stopthesalt.com, I make more money, and I will sign it for you. And so, and also, Words with Friends, Cooper Talk 1. I've been getting bombarded with requests to play, and it makes me smarter and makes us all happier. So go check out Jane Sibbett. Google her. Follow me on Twitter. It's at Cooper Talk. And don't forget, I'm Steve Cooper. I'm only as hip as my friends. Don't forget, drink your water, eat your vegetables, take your vitamins, and I will talk to you guys next week.